In this video, we're going to continue to explore Adobe Substance 3D. We are at the beginning, so we are starting to familiarize with the software, and we're going to take it nice and slow. We're going to learn more and more each video. We're going to increase the level of difficulty. So in this video here, I want to continue to explain more about the interface here, and I want to use the samples that we find here when we go to File. Now, in the previous lesson, we saw how we can import from a website like Polyhaven. We can import a 3D model, which is a mesh, and the textures right here. And these are visualized right here, imported textures. So I'm gonna, before getting back to this, I wanna just use the samples here to see what you have at your disposal to learn Substance. So I'm gonna go to Open Sample, and I will just discard this and use the first one, which is going to be the preview sphere. Now, the preview sphere is a really simple project, and there you go. So we have this, well, it's not actually a sphere, but it's kind of, kind of a half sphere, like mechanical piece, and it's only one object. So first of all, if we move on the right side, we can see that in this file, we only have the sphere right here. So we don't have any other object. And here in the libraries also, we mentioned that we have different types of visualization for the libraries. So these are like the whole libraries that you have in the software. But if you want to know which assets are used in this file, you can change here and go from all libraries to project. Now, let's clear the search to see more. Yeah, there you go. So we go here in the project and we can see that these are the textures that have been used in this one here. So these are like different types of textures, and usually these purple ones are the normal maps, and then you have like this that it's called gradient spots. So this is for creating like these flakes effects on the metal, and this is for anisotropy. So you have, many different textures that can create many different effects, and we're going to learn about this more and more. Now, of course, if you are already an expert, you don't need this. You probably want to skip ahead, but we're going to take it again from the beginning, from the starting point for the real beginners here. So essentially, you have the possibility to apply to your 3D objects different ways and different materials, different maps, different effects, and also you have, well, essentially two ways you can apply textures. You have tileable textures and non-tileable textures. So tileable textures are similar to this one, so you can repeat them many times on a surface, while non-tileable textures are usually the Unwrap texture or Unwrap maps that can only be placed in specific points of the 3D model. And then you also have like some other type of texture like the environments that can be placed outside the model, and they will help you to generate reflections, for example, on metallic objects, and also lighting. And if you want to see if you are using an environment here, you need to go here in the display settings, and you can see here you have environment settings, and yeah, we can see that we are using here a glazed patio texture. So we are using an environment map, an environment texture. And also you'll find in these side panels here, you'll find not only the environment, but also like shadows and other effects we're going to see later. And then you also have camera settings, so not only environment but also camera and other like additional settings for the view we're gonna see later. But in this video we want to concentrate more on like the texture topic. Now I want to show you quickly that you can also search texture in the web. So just search for texture, and if you want to be like more sure that this will be a good texture, type seamless, because seamless texture, they usually don't have like cuts between one repetition and the other. So these are tileable texture. So remember, we have two main types. One is the tileable, so that you can like repeat many times, tileable. And so you just need one, and then you repeat it, just like a tile. You repeat it every time, and it's going to cover like large surfaces, or you can make it bigger and smaller. And then you have texture like the Unwrap map, which cannot be repeated many, many times. So each part of the object is mapped with a specific part of the texture. So this is actually what we are seeing in Substance. So, but you can use both in Substance, and I'm gonna show you in just a minute. And then you have texture environments. You can see texture environments. These are also non-tileable texture, because this is like a sphere that you place all around your scene. So they look like if a sphere was flattened on a rectangle. And you have many of these that you can find. And sometimes you can call them textures, sometimes you can call them map and sorry, map environment, and so on. Now, the texture have resolution. So they are made of pixels. The higher is the resolution, the better will be the texture, because it will have more details, but also it will be heavier. So you need to decide whether you want to use 1K, 2K, 4K resolution for your textures, because this is gonna uh, make your object or your scene heavier or lighter. So I'm gonna close here the display settings. Now you can see here the sphere as in this panel. You can, first of all, you can turn it off and on, and then it has this resolution right here. Now if I click here and select a lower resolution, like a really low quality resolution, let's zoom in. You can see that everything is more pixelated and less defined, but also is less heavy. And if I click here and go all the way to the top, so 4K, you will see that it's going to have the highest quality in terms of texturing, and the 3D model itself is going to look better, because textures also, they simulate 3D effects. So they kind of adding details to the object. So adding 3D details that are not actually there. And this is what the normal map usually do, or also the bump map or the height map do. And here, down here, we have layers and then texture sets. So this is all about textures. And you can see here the texture that we're using, and general properties, the size. And this is again the maximum, but you can like lower it down, and you can see now it changes also there. And you have layers, and each layer probably is going to be a different effect. This one here is anisotropy, so you can turn that off, and you can see this is a folder. So you can click and expand the folder or compact the folder. You can create new layers here, you can create folders, but we're going to see this later. Just focus on the overall system here. So you have folders, and then inside the folder you can place a certain amount of effects. So here in bronze armor we have like a sharpen part. You see that is sharpening, and then you have dirt, so you can like turn off and on the dirt. And like the your finished product will be a combination of all these effects. Now, one thing I want to show you in the anisotropy group is this flakes layer. So you can see the flakes is this effect in the metal that is going to give it like more realism. It's like aluminum effect. Now you can turn that off if you don't want it, or you can just compare by turning that on and off. But this is a tileable texture. So to show you that, we can use this gizmo here that is called a manipulator. And you can see here, you can hide and show the manipulator, and you can make it like with the smaller grips or larger grips, which are these little squares. So if you click on those squares, you can make this like move around. That, well, now we're actually resizing. So we're making this bigger and bigger. And you can see that if I resize this, also the effect is going to get bigger and bigger on that surface. So this is what we're doing. We are, like decreasing the number of tiles. If we bring this down, we are making it smaller, so we are increasing the tiling of that texture. And you can also rotate it. So you can rotate the effect. And you can see it also here in the 2D space, by the way. So you can rotate, you can resize or scale, you can move it around. So position that in a different way. And also when you do these operations, you can see them down here. You can see the fill is using a UV projection, and it's repeating right now, and it's tiling. And down here you see the tiling information. So if you decrease this, you're gonna have smaller size and more tiling. If you increase the size, you're gonna have less tiling of the texture. And then again, you have rotation and offset. So move, rotate, and scale of the manipulator. And you can turn it off and on if you need it or not. Now these other two, you can see they are related to the manipulator. So this one here is the pivot point. Now the pivot point is the center grip. So if I click that, I can position that perhaps right here. So when I rotate, I'm gonna rotate around that pivot. When I scale, I'm gonna scale based on that pivot position. So it's kind of important. And you can click here to place it back in the center, or you can just, reset everything. And this is gonna bring the original position of the texture, which is gonna be like expanded throughout the UV map. So it's gonna like cover the entire UV map. So usually when you bring a texture, it's gonna be as big as this. So you just need to, if you want, you can scale it down and make the texture smaller, or you can make it bigger as you wish, as you like. Now let's change scene. So I'm gonna use another sample, open sample, and I'm gonna discard the changes here. Let's go for like this tiling material. So we're gonna see all of them. We already saw meat mat in another video. So let's go for tiling material. And this is what we're talking about. This is again a tiling effect, and this is also a real 3D extrusion. You can see that this is a texture converted into a real 3D extrusion. And again, these are called usually bump map or normal map or displacement map or height map. These cause a fake or a real 3D uh, superficial effect like this. So there are some effects we can use in Substance related to the simulation of superficial 3D. And this is another, again, really simple scene that we can check to see, some of these effects right here. But we're gonna go into this later on. You can see here we are using a height map, and we are using a normal map, and you can also use both actually. And let's see here what we have. Let me see in the bump. So we do have tiling also here and offset. And well, sometimes texture are baked, so you cannot actually change them. But let's see something else. Let's go in another sample, and let's see the jade toad. And also here we have like a lot of effects overlapping one to each other. So you can see here, you can turn them on and off to see like the starting point. And some of these are baked. Baking means that, for example, if I have shadows, I can bake them onto the object. Now, if you hold the shift key and the right mouse, you can move around and you see also some lens effects there. You can move around the HDRI or environment map, which is going to give you like different types of lining. Remember that normal maps, environment maps, they participate to lining. So you can change the lining, changing the position of the environment map. Now, if you select up here, this list, you can like isolate some of the effects that are available in this file. So material is kind of the combination, and this is just only the base color. So only the color without, for example, the additional 3D effects or fake 3D. If I go here, for example, normal height plus mesh, we can see some of the normal maps which are like fake 3D effects. And then we can proceed here, and we can check, ambient occlusion, which is like shadows created by the environment, and an opacity or Sometimes you have other stuff like roughness or metallic, depending on the subject. They also couldn't have some of these. So this is a way you can like check if you have other effects applied. It's kind of a filter. And let me just go back here to the sphere. So here we also have this camera. So we have a default camera and a preview angle. And also here you have some buttons you can use. So this one here is to isolate geometry. This is to pause the engine computation. So basically it will not render the changes. And then here you can change the visualization from 3D to 2D and 3D plus 2D, or 3D only, 2D only. You can swap 3D and 2D with the F4 key. And you can also open the 3D in another window and then like dock it around or press it in another screen. And you can visualize or close the window. You can open up the 2D window in another view. And then here you can switch from perspective to orthographic. And also you can change the rotation, like constrained rotation or free rotation. Now, if you do free rotation, it could get a little bit messy, but if you want to retrieve the original view, you can hold the shift key and then the alt key to rotate, and then click and rotate, and it's going to rotate in the different views, like the top view or the bottom view or the side view. Now I want to show you this in another scene, and that is going to be better to understand. So let's open the last one, which is going to be the French restaurant table. And this is a more complex scene. You can see you have many objects, you have many textures. These are the textures right here, you can see, and these are the various objects. So you have the bread, and then you have the table, and then you have tableware, and so on. So you can turn these on and off. You can also isolate. So if, for example, if I want to isolate the bread, here I can click on this and that's going to isolate it. And also here I can click on this little button to isolate it. And here I can hide all or show all. And again, you can just hide them and show them. Now this is another example of baking right here. So you can see the shadow there was baked onto that other surface. So when you bake, is to make things a little bit easier for the rendering. So you do need to render that shadow real time, but it's going to be baked there. So that's why we use baking. Now we have baking interface right here. So if we click here, we enter into the baking interface. Here, this is the standard, the paint. And then this one here is the rendering, Iray. Now rendering is real time with Iray. And now we can actually see the environment map there in the background. So if I orbit a little bit around, and you can see the camera is kind of rotating strangely because we are in free rotation. So let's go back to constraint rotation, and to place it this again correctly, we hold the shift key, the alt key, and then let's rotate, and you can see this is the like a from view, and this is the top view, and this is a side view. And then we leave everything, the shift and the alt, and then just rotate with the alt and the left mouse, and now it's going to be better. And also we can change here from perspective to orthographic. Now this is orthographic. You can see orthographic will not show the environment right now. So if I go to perspective view, I can see the environment. So I can use the environment just for the reflections and for the lighting, and then just hide it. Or I can use it also as a background. Now if I go and hold again the shift key and the right button mouse, I can move the texture around of the environment. You can see it's moving and it's illuminating in different ways, because when you rotate the environment, it's also gonna affect the lighting again and the reflections. So this is a visible explanation of that. Here, this is kind of a like more simplified rendering, so I can see that it's changing the lighting, but I can actually see the resolution, the full resolution environment map on the background. So you can change all those things also again here in the visualization. You can see this is the environment map right here. It's called Atelier. And so here again, you can change this. You can swap. Let's make it orthographic. And well, that's it for this video. I'm gonna stop here, and we're gonna continue in the following videos. So if you enjoyed, please subscribe to the channel and stay updated. If you want to thank us, you can join us as a supporter, so you can help us to create more videos, and go check the other courses and guides that you find in the channel. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next lesson.